As most of you know, a few years ago we revisioned Lake Nixon. We thought long and hard about what Lake Nixon can and should be for our community and what kind of work needs to happen out there. One of the things that quickly rose to the top for us was the idea of an outdoor preschool. How it just made sense for us, for a myriad of reasons, to begin an outdoor preschool at Lake Nixon. I'll be honest that when I first heard that, I thought, I like the idea of an outdoor preschool more than I really like the outdoor preschool. But it was in large part because I didn't know who would lead such a thing. In 2017, we hired Monica Woods to run our outdoor preschool. And she has been nothing short of a gift from God to our work at Lake Nixon. She has built our program from the ground up. She has been involved at every step of the program. And this fall, it is really maturing and growing into what it can and should be, in large part because of Monica's work. We wanted her to come today for several reasons. First of all, we wanted y'all to know who Monica is, and we wanted you to be able to thank her for the work that she does. We also thought that since we're talking about holiness today, particularly the holiness of ordinary things, it might befit us to think about why we take kids outside at Lake Nixon every single weekday. So Monica, come and share with us. We're grateful for your work. Glad you could be here today.
Good morning. When someone you respect very much asks you to speak your truth, it is an honor. It's also very humbling, preparing a talk and making the words come out right. So I hope my rambling today reaches who it's supposed to reach and that it basically makes sense. Anyone who knows me knows how I feel about Second, its people and its leadership. I consider it a great gift of my life to work with and for people who have always worked to right wrongs and to speak the truth on so many things locally and in humanity. To be connected to a vision of how God wants humans to be in the world is a huge privilege. Talk about the holiness of ordinary things. I'm so proud to belong to Lake Nixon, proud to be associated with all of you, so thank you. I credit my mama for knowing that my cousins and I needed to spend years figuring out different ways to live outside. Playing in the creek, building forts, sleeping in the urban yard under the stars. These are all ingrained deep inside of me and probably at the heart of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I wish I could promise that a child who gets to play outside a lot will retain a reverence for God's creation always. I can't make promises like that. A promise that does get delivered on, though, and why I'm so passionate about outdoor preschool, why it is so important, and why I want you to understand its importance is that young people who are lucky enough to spend large chunks of time in the outdoors are assured of a glimpse of something holy that they will carry with them for the rest of their lives. It may get buried under layers of life and distraction or forgotten temporarily, but this glimpse or spark of holiness is always there, as close as our next breath, of course, and it's in the ordinary things. If this reason is not enough to convince you how important the natural world is to children's lives, let scientific research and the study of the development of a child's brain convince you. We now know that visions of blue and green are necessary for our mental health, and that the more fresh air, contact with plants, sightings of birds in flight, and just plain dirt we have, the more physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy we are. There are many connections created in the brain that can only happen in nature. Our brains are literally wired to be in it and to receive it. It brings me great joy to be a part of flipping the education must happen indoors mindset we have accepted as normal in our culture. I love being able to remind people that where most preschoolers get to go outside for maybe an hour a day, we spend all but about an hour outside every day. The natural world is the best place to grow and learn. The children have time to work on all the big and little pieces of what they will need to use later on, and we do that part really well too. But what else do they get to learn outside? Everything. Every moment there is another discovery, or 5. It is full and rich and unceasing, these ordinary moments by an ordinary lake in an ordinary town. And it's the holiest thing you can witness. I think that's the whole point. The reason we are here and the great gift. The heart of it is that we all get to, through God, experience holiness in the ordinary. Aldo Leopold said, there are those who can live without wild things and those who cannot. Leopold is a hero of mine, but I wonder at the sanity of this statement. It does seem most people on our planet have figured out ways to exist without wild things, but living is another matter. To be with wild things or to have glimpses or moments in wild places is the stuff of life. We are all of us, whether we realize it or not, trying to get back to the garden, to God's holiness. Kids live this. They have zero doubt about where they want to be. It is simple. God's holiness is simple. We don't have to teach it. It's already inside every one of them, of us. It's in the perfection and pattern of a zinnia, the sound of water, the critters that hop and flutter all around us, holy and ordinary. My best friend collects sunsets. It's a hobby. She notices each change in color, movement, and intensity and has the patience to watch the thing through. She notices the beauty and the complexity. Such an ordinary thing to witness. They happen every day, and holy, each one. Another friend of mine is a priest who has a doubting teen at home. Recently, they cut open a melon to eat with their lunch. Looking at the configuration of seeds inside, doubting teen said, "It is so beautiful, it almost makes me believe in God." My own kids have to learn how to get along in this world, and I never want them to lose the glimpse I speak of. They have probably been able to spend more time outside than most, and I am grateful. They like to be outside, but they also like lots of other things. They are kind and funny and creative. They have big hearts, and both wield huge swords of justice. And I still fuss a lot about getting off screens and getting outside. They will tell you that there are rules posted and contracts signed, that I am way too strict about screens. But I want them to stay in touch with their humanness and why we are here. And out there is where life is. It is where they can more easily hear than here. And I never want them to lose that. I want them always to be able to find their way back to the garden and to themselves. My favorite part of each day, and it happens every day, is when I get to watch this holiness cross the face of the very young. Some call it wonder or joy or delight, but it is also holy and ordinary. Of course, there's a lot of high energy out there. They run and play and jump and shout and all of it, but then they relax. You can see it. And they relax some more, and they get real quiet. And they sit for moments alone. They find a quiet place in the garden and in themselves. It is simple, ordinary, and holy.
I told you she was a gift. Frederick Buechner says God usually calls us to the place where our deep gladness meets the world's great need. We had a great need, and I'm glad God called you to the place where your gladness meets our need. And if you are interested at all in outdoor preschool, if you want to talk about how you might help us spread the word about outdoor preschool, Monica will be here throughout worship today. She would love to visit with you. The rest of us on staff would love to visit with you about that. This is a building, burgeoning program, and we could use your help as we build it. But incredible things are happening, holy things are happening, in large part because of Monica's fingerprints. And can we tell her one more time how grateful we are for her work at Lake Nixon? Thanks, Jim.